is back, baby. And you know who it is. Travis Thomas here with you, my co-host, per usual. I appreciate all of you. I told you on the last Hold My Banner, our numbers here are going up. Downloads, shares, likes, all of it. It's going up, and it's all because of you. So thank you. We appreciate you. So I roll with you always, and you know we don't roll alone. No, we can't go just me and you. We gotta extend the party, expand the party, open up the door. Let the walking, talking triple-double himself walk in. Now, he's got to duck his head down at the threshold because he's tall, but he in the party, though. Ountae Campbell, what's popping?
What's up, 2Ts? How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I wanted to run this by you.
Okay, talk to me
So
real quick.
I see that right now the NBA is considering a new tournament-style format for the All-Star game this season.
Yep.
So apparently there will be 3 All-Star teams of 8 players each.
Okay.
Then there would also be the winner of the Rising Stars game.
Yeah.
Those 4 teams would play each other tournament style, Ountae, and then obviously the winners move on to the final round, so on and so forth, and you have a champion.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this new All-Star game format?
Hey, we were talking about it in the office today about the Pro Bowl and how that needs to die because it's lame and there's no way you can get these NFL players to play hard in that type of game.
Yes.
NBA is in a different situation. I like them trying new versions, new formats every single year of the All-Star game to get these dudes to want to play hard. And I think this could be the one, Travis. So hopefully they do try that out. But look, Travis, before I get out of here and let you rant, because you know you love to talk, I need to talk to you.
I can't even argue that.
I need to talk to you about my city. Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, Lord.
Is officially Apple Music's Rapper of the Year for 2024. And Travis Thomas, I love that he's still getting love. I know you saw DJ Mustard at his Camp Flognog set or whatever he was doing where he started playing the Drake Crew Love with The Weeknd, and then he goes, psych, and starts playing the diss track that Metro Boomin and Future and Kendrick put out. I love that. And then I also love the fact that I was watching the No Face music video because I still love Drake. Even though I still love Drake.
You can't tell.
I still love Drake. But you know, I was watching No Face music video this morning as I was waking up, and the first comment on the top of it is, this should be called No Views because nobody was watching it. It had like under 300,000 clicks on it, and that's nothing for Drake. Aubrey Drake Graham, 300,000 views for a music video. This dude is falling off, but I still love him though.
I mean, listen, bro, you can't put too much stock in the comments. You know what I mean? I mean, they call me a moron in the comments. They call you a cash. We can't put too much stock in the comments.
Yeah.
But look. Your guy, Kendrick, won the beef.
Yes, he did.
He deserves this long-ass victory lap that he's on because, I got to watch him perform this song and pretty much dance all over Drake's rap career grave at the Super Bowl, too. Like, it's unbelievable.
It's going to be great.
It's just such the longest victory lap I've ever seen, but good for Kendrick. He's earned it. By the way, Tay, when you come back later on, we'll run through the show. And to end the show today, I'll give you my thoughts on that All-Star game format that we talked about. So we'll bring Tay back later for that. As he says, I love to talk, and I want to start here. If you look at the Eastern Conference forecast, the outlook right now, it makes a lot of sense at the top. Obviously, we all know right now the biggest battle in the East is between Cavs and Celtics. And I'm looking forward to that all season long because if you look at the top 4 teams in the East right now, in any order, but the top 4 teams, I think they're here to stay. I do. And again, you could flip-flop order. I have no idea. But right now, you're talking Cavs 1, Celtics 2, Magic 3, Knicks 4. That feels about right. The Magic are so impressive because they're doing this without Paolo. Now, obviously, he comes back. You would think they're going to continue, if not get better, right? At least stay the course for the Magic. The Knicks, we know, started off slow, but they're starting to come alive. And then the Cavs and C's, they're going to be battling all season long. I would also add, if you notice, teams at the bottom of the barrel right now, we all think at some point are going to get their shack together and get in this party. teams like the 76ers, who we'll talk about later in the show, even the Bucks, who are starting to play a little bit better. Not to mention, looking at the standings right now, as it stands today, still early, but both the Hawks and the Heat, as of now, are in that 7-8 range. I think both of those teams could get in right in that range. Bottom of the barrel, Eastern Conference could get into the playoffs. So even though it's early in the season, it's starting to take shape now a little bit of the teams you're going to be dealing with. But it is clear the Cavs, Celtics, a cut above everyone else. They just are. And no matter what, as these two teams take on each other all season long, it will be for that number 1 seed in the East. And I was thinking about this. I still remember when the Celtics 2 seasons ago were the number 1 seed in the East. We were all feeling good about the championship chances. We were all thinking they're finally taking that next step. They're dominating the Eastern Conference. This is the year. And what happened? Seas started fading down the stretch. Giannis and the Bucks got hot. There were late game matchups between those two, head-to-head, Celtics and Bucks, that the Bucks took. I remember because I was burned betting-wise, thinking the Celtics were going to be the 1 seed. They're not going to lose these games. Wrong. So Celtics faded. Bucks got hot. Bucks catched and passed the Celtics for the number 1 seed in the East. In the end, because all of us around here, the sky was falling at that time. In the end, it didn't even matter. It was that year the Heat were like the 8th seed and went to the finals. They got hot, and the rest is history. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again in the Eastern Conference. I don't see some 8th seed. I just told you who's down there, Heat and Hawks. Heat aren't doing that again, and I damn sure ain't betting on the Hawks to do anything. I still think it'll be Cavs or the Celtics. But my point is, I would not be shocked. I wouldn't bat an eye if someone told me, hey, Cavs are going to be the number 1 seed in the East. I'd say, okay, no problem. Cool. Great. Now, at least the Celtics have a true adversary that they're going to have to deal with in the postseason. I would look forward to that matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals, which I assume we would all think would happen. But I will say this, 1 seed be damned. I'm still going to take the Celtics in the best of a 7-game series. I am. I just think they're a better team. They're the champions. But Cleveland is for real. And I'll also say this. I think what Cleveland is doing is sustainable. Obviously, head coach Kenny Atkinson, we talked about him here on Hold My Banner before the season started, about how he sort of has a weight on his shoulders coming in there because of all the talent on that roster. And they had clearly been underachieving. Atkinson comes in. Weight of what world? No problem. I got us. They're still playing great defense. And they're much more efficient offensively. I think you have to give the head coach a lot of credit there. And then you just look at the roster. I would still take the Celtics, but I'll be honest. I mean, especially in the Eastern Conference, I think I'd take the Cavs next. Obviously, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, those are the heavies we know. But Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, they can all play. I mean, it's a really good roster there in Cleveland. The smartest thing they've done so far, I would say, Cleveland has really put the message out there and sort of focused in and been intentional on resting Donovan Mitchell early in the season. And I think that's so smart. They're obviously going to stick with that. That's something they're going to do. That's a strategy. That's a game plan. And it's genius because if you remember last season, he didn't even finish the series against the Celtics. Neither did Jared Allen. And I thought, I don't know if Cleveland would have won that series. I doubt it. The Celtics were an absolute juggernaut last season. But it certainly could have changed the series. It could have been much more intriguing. It could have went longer with those two players involved. So I think it's really smart how the Cavs are sort of handling their business right now. And I believe the way they're winning, the way they've been performing here early in the season is sustainable. I just think I would still take the Celtics in the best of 7. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch all season long. All right. I want to get to James Harden. I'm not the biggest James Harden fan. Can I preface all my comments before I go here by saying I'm not a big James Harden guy. And because of that, I am happy for him that he is now second all-time on the three-point list, only chasing Steph Curry, behind Steph Curry, and he passes Ray Allen. I'm happy for him. I think this is a big part of his legacy. I think he's probably going to have some more records. He's going to have great numbers. But when the smoke clears on James Harden's career, his legacy is going to be lame. And the reason why is because unlike Steph, who he's chasing, and unlike Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth, who he just passed, he's not a champion. And I don't believe he ever will be a champion. Now, I know I joke I can see the future in this bald head of mine, but the reality is I can't. He could get a ring. He could get older and decide I need the ring chase for my legacy and go get one. James Harden could get one now if he's willing to be a third, fourth option on a championship team. We know he's not willing to do that. He's proven he's not willing to do that. He wants to be the man. He has shown I can be the second guy, but I just don't think he's a Pippen on a championship team. I don't believe James Harden is a second best option on a championship team. I don't think that can happen. I think it needs to be 3, maybe 4 at this stage of his career. So he could ring chase later and get one. But we all know it's likely, as in 99.9%, that he's not going to get a title as this current James Harden, as still enough in his tank to be considered the man, right? So I think that shapes his legacy to a guy that really I watched growing up, and I was a huge fan of. I'm a fan of James Harden to a certain extent. I do hate on him, but I didn't hate on this guy. Dominique Wilkins, James Harden's Dominique Wilkins 2.0. It's the same thing. I watched this as a kid. Dominique Wilkins was dominant. He was called the human highlight film. He would score. He would defend. He was great. Didn't have a great supporting cast. I would argue James Harden's had a much better supporting cast in his career over the totality. But Dominique Wilkins was the man. And every year they'd make the playoffs and you think, hey, one of these years the Hawks are going to break through. Wrong. They never did. He never won anything. I would say Dominique Wilkins' legacy is that of being a exciting player, scored a lot of points, never won anything. And it feels like that's the road James Harden is on. That's a path. James Harden's better than Dominique Wilkins, but I actually have a little more respect for Neek because he lost to the GOAT. How many great players during that era didn't get rings because of Michael Jordan? You can't say the same for James Harden. You can't. You could say, well, Steph, he played during the Steph Curry era. Other players got rings during the Steph Curry era. Well, other players got rings during the LeBron era. James Harden's so great, he should have been able to push through. And we know when he should have. It should have been on those Rockets teams, right? I guess you could argue the Thunder, but they were so young. I would argue he should have got one with the Rockets. He never got it. So I think when the smoke clears on James Harden's career, he's going to be remembered a lot like Dominique Wilkins, except there was never the GOAT there to block him. He was met by GOATs, and they stopped him, but not the guy. James Harden, in all of his greatness, look, I hate on the guy a lot. I have to admit, he is one of the most prolific scorers I ever watched play this game. He changed the game in a lot of ways. He's never going to win anything. And I think that is attached to his legacy, no matter what record he breaks. You want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? Drake May needs help, and we discuss how he can get it quick on Nesson's football podcast, Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, let's bring him back in here. Ountae Campbell, who always picks apart my rant. I know you respect the Cavs. Obviously, we got love for the Celtics. But I have to imagine you want to weigh in on this James Harden thing.
Yeah. I'm not really too worried about the Cavs and Celtics. I'm more worried about James Harden. And I have to talk to you about your James Harden legacy thing. And
yes.
As a kid from Los Angeles, I understand who James Harden is in that city. So I'm a little biased when I'm coming to you at this. I have to say that.
That's fair.
But you say, oh, his legacy is lame. Oh, he's Dominique Wilkins. I don't remember Neek having a shoe that everybody wanted to wear. This man, James Harden, what he's done for sneaker culture for Adidas and fashion culture in the NBA as a whole, too, has given so much to this youth community that he'll be remembered past the things that he did on the court. Now, if you want to talk about the things that he did on the court, like you said, second all time in 3-pointers made. You know what I mean? That's a huge honor. Steph and then him. And some guys are going to catch him. You know what I mean? There will be guys that are catching him, especially with the Celtics shooting 73s a game.
Might be
you know what I mean? Guys are going to catch him because the game has evolved during the time that James Harden got. If he would have got the opportunity to come in the league right now and had his same career path, he would have easily had an even higher number, not passing Steph, but an even higher number than he has right now.
Yeah.
So that's the case with him. If you want to talk about on the court, though, too, with the Warriors series, man, that is his legacy. And it sucks that it had to be against one of the greatest teams ever assembled, honestly. You know what I mean? Really? Like, you talk about, 72 and 10, Jordan back in the day, that's the greatest team that ever won a championship. That, regular season had 72 wins and then ended up winning the championship. I get that. They had the regular season success and the championship success. Right. But when you talk about a team that didn't worry about the regular season at all because they just came off of winning a 73-9 season, and then they add a Kevin Durant, so they understand, we're not going to burn ourselves out in the regular season. We're going to go all in, chips in the playoffs. And James Harden was the guy that almost stopped them from winning a championship against LeBron James. We don't know what would have happened to that Houston Rockets team if they would have got there and faced LeBron. But we know for a fact that it was right there, and it was really Chris Paul's choking.
Yeah, it was.
That held him back from being in the finals.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So after all the playoff chokes and all the hard times that we've given him, he got a chance. He figured it out. Yeah. And his teammates honestly let him down.
They did.
And they were great all year, so I can't blame them they helped them get there. But James Harden was ready to win that series, and the rest of the team wasn't. And that's just a simple fact.
Wasn't there an injury? Didn't Chris Paul get hurt, though? Am I making that up?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's some of that, too. Listen, all-time scorer.
Yes.
Fashionista. I'll give you all that. That's fine.
Yes.
He still, unless he gets a ring chasing late in his career. So at least he can put that to bed. He can say, I'm a champion. That can help. But I don't even believe that's going to happen. I just don't think he's going to win anything. By the way, Jay, if we can we take Ountae full? Because having this conversation with you, my man, and looking at that shirt you have on, that's another guy. Allen Iverson, show that shirt, Ountae. So Allen Iverson was a guy who also, scored a ton. Now, he at least got to the finals, and he had deep playoff runs, unlike James Harden.
Yeah, he did.
But he scored a ton of points. He didn't win anything. But if you notice, when they talk about Iverson, because of the heart, because of some of the things he did, and they do talk about him in a fashionista way, to your point.
Yes, sir.
It never comes up where he didn't win anything.
Right.
I think with Harden, he's going to have all the points. He's going to have the fashionista props.
Yep.
But it will be called out. He didn't win a damn thing.
Yeah, it will. And it's just a different era. It's social media era. You know what I mean? I just think, like, back in the day, it was like, championship or bust. I don't really think people really remember the championship teams of the 2000s like that or really care. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew that you weren't going to win. I think there was more parity in the league at the time. Everybody knew, the Lakers were going to win.
Right.
LeBron was going to get there every single year. The Spurs, like you said, are going to win. Yep. That was kind of like, all right, we know who's going to – the Celtics are going to sneak in there and get one. You know what I mean? But everyone kind of knew, like, who the top dogs were during Allen Iverson's time. It was never the pressure of, like, hey, it should be his team. You know what I mean? When he got there, it was kind of a surprise to everybody that he even got there. You know what I mean? And no one picked the 76ers to win against that Lakers team. That wasn't, that wasn't the case. Yeah. So it's been multiple times where Harden's really been at the top and he's never really gotten over the hill. You know what I mean? He's just been at the peak and he's never really crossed to the other side. So I understand that, but he's definitely a guy that deserves his respect. And I think that people will say, he lost. But I also think there will be a lot of that Allen Iverson love. And you might even see him having high roles, like how Allen Iverson has it with the Reebok. He'll have the same thing with Adidas.
I could see that. He could also run a nightclub really well as well. He's a GOAT nightclubber. He could definitely have Harden's cabaret and do very well.
Yeah, Get some wings named after him like Lou Will.
Fire shirt, by the way.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Appreciate it. But look, before we go on to the next thing, I got to talk to you about this because this was on my mind. It wasn't a part of the rundown. I got to go over super quickly,
Go ahead,
man. I hate the L2M. Last 2-minute report, bro. Like,
yo, when you lead with I hate,
bro, like Travis, bro.
I know
last
you hate
2-minute report sucks. And I'm bringing it up because of this, bro. I'm going to show this tweet off.
All right.
Look, last 2-minute report came out. We know Tatum hit the game winner. Shout out to him against the Raptors on Saturday. Big shot. He didn't make the first one in regulation. Made it in overtime. Last 2-minute report comes out and says, oh, he traveled. Then they say, oh, also Jaylen Brown got fouled on the shot that he made, prior to the shot anyway. So It's like, okay, so what are you telling me? What are you telling me?
Yeah.
Are you telling me you're going to change anything about the game? No, you're not. So you're just telling me that, hey, we messed up.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
I don't want to hear sorry. That's for losers. Losers say sorry. I don't want to hear that. You are sorry, NBA. That's what you are. And this is why your ratings are down, because you out here making lame excuses about, oh, we're sorry. We missed the call. Do you feel better, Raptors fans? No, they don't.
No, they
because
don't.
they got an L in the lose column.
You feel worse.
It's dumb.
So listen, I agree. And I've hated it from the beginning. But I remember when this started and they said, we're looking, you got to remember, man, the NBA's had some issues with refs, shaving points and some things going on, right?
Right.
And so, look, I think when they started this, it was, we want to be transparent. We want full transparency here to show you we're honest and all that. I will tell you this, Tay. At the time, it made sense. But since then, and where we are present day, I think it's outdated.
Yeah.
The gamblers have changed the world. I'm serious. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
We don't give a damn about the 2-minute report.
Right.
What gamblers care about is the injury report, which these teams are still skirting around. We didn't know who's playing and when, bruh.
Oh,
because if you lay the
you're
points,
never getting that.
Well, I'm just saying.
You're never winning that
But
battle.
I'm saying that's my point in that it's outdated.
Yes.
Screw the 2-minute report. Tell us it's a star player playing before this game so we can bet on it. That's all. That's all. That's the transparency nowadays that matters. Does that make sense?
You're right.
The 2-minute report's stupid.
It is. It's dumb. All right, let's talk about something else that's stupid and dumb. The 76ers, bro. They're 2-11. And now there's all these reports coming out about Embiid not being laid, and Maxey's mad about it.
Yeah.
Like, will this team even make the playoffs, Travis? That's the overarching question.
So.
I need to ask you that. Will they make the playoffs?
I think so. They're too damn talented to not. Remember, Tay, we got to slow down a bit here because Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid still have not played a game together.
Okay.
So, like, I'm sure, bro,
They're last in the East.
They're awful.
They're last.
Me and you are watching this team and making fun of them and like, man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Imagine what Philly sports talk radio and Philly podcasts are doing right now. But I say all that to say,
yes,
the Maxey Embiid thing could actually be the best thing to happen to the team. So the rumors are after their last loss, there was a players-only meeting called by Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
In the meeting, Tyrese Maxey, who is the baller on the team right now, he's the only one doing any damn thing.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming taking a leadership role while these other stars are in and out of the lineup.
Right, yep.
Calls out Joel Embiid, allegedly, and says, you're late to everything, quote. You're late to everything, meetings, all of it. And so, look, everyone says that these two are tight. Maxey and Embiid are tight. He's one of the reasons Maxey got paid is Embiid put the stamp on it and all that. So if they are tight, I think it could help the 76ers. It's like you and I. You and I are really tight. If I start slipping in any way, I already know. Now, you wouldn't do it on this platform. You wouldn't do it in front of everyone. But if it's a players-only meeting, if it's a me and you show meeting, you'd say it. And I'd be fine with it. And vice versa. If you're slipping, you better believe I'm calling you out. But I wouldn't do it in a public setting. Tyrese Maxey didn't do this in a public setting. He did it in a players-only meeting, allegedly. If Joel Embiid has any stones at all, he's okay with this, and maybe looks in the mirror, and maybe he's reflective, and he says, you know what? Young boy's right. Like, we stink. I'm not being held accountable. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I shoved a nerdy media member. Like, I gotta get my shack together. Maybe there is a fire that can be lit under this team. I'm not saying it solves everything, but I think it's something because this team is in shambles. Good on Tyrese Maxey, Ountae.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Good on him. I've been in these same type of locker rooms before, man. You're losing.
Walk me through it.
You're losing. Are you losing games, a string of games that you don't think you should lose? Vet says, hey, it's time for us to talk. Players only. Maybe it's players and coaches only, whatever. You know what I mean? Let's have a sit down and come to Jesus talk. I've been in those conversations.
Oh, their names called out in those situations.
Same, yes, 100%. And the thing about it is a good team, right, regardless of record, that a good team could have a bad record or a good record. A good team is a team that understands each other, can talk about things, all of this type of stuff, because realistically you can blame all of their losses on injuries, right? Like you said, the three main stars haven't played a game together yet, right? So you can blame it all on that. They could still be a good team. We don't know that. Here's the thing, though. The teams that will be good will be able to talk like how you and I could talk, like you were saying before, and say, okay, I take that. Yeah. I accept that you're saying that, and I do need to be better, and I take accountability for that. And from now on, we move on from whatever happened in the past.
It's over.
And we get better.
Yep.
Now, what I think is going to happen is it's just going to keep on slipping because the 76ers have bad culture as a whole.
Okay.
It's going back to the Ben Simmons days.
Yeah.
Going back to when they had Nerlens Noel on the team back in the day.
Right.
They've always had bad culture. And so when you have bad culture, it breeds bad players with bad thoughts. And Joel Embiid, as much as I love his game, man, his brain between his two ears, bro, he just doesn't have it straightened out right now.
Yeah.
And I love that Maxey is one of those guys who does have it figured out and knows what's important and has it all locked in. But right now, Embiid is not focused on winning basketball games for the 76ers.
Well,
He's worried about Joel Embiid.
You gave me a stat with him about free throws that blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that it shows you. I'll tell you the stat. 31 minutes that he played in that game against the Miami Heat, he had 0 free throws. This was the first time since 2018 that Joel Embiid has recorded a game without a free throw attempt.
Wow.
First time. That tells
insane.
you everything you need to know. 31 minutes.
Does.
This is a dude that I used to see diving on the floor, playing hard. If you're not healthy, dude, then you're not healthy. Don't play. I don't want to hear the excuses. We see Kawhi. He over there not playing because he ain't healthy.
Right.
So just don't play, bro. I understand people are on you, blah, 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 whatever. But, like, if my whole thing is how I've always been wired, man, my mom didn't care. There was no sick days at school.
Yeah, same.
There was none of that. If you're playing, you're playing. It's not, oh, I'm sick, I'm hurt, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
No, you go as hard as possible until you get hurt again, bro. That's it. So if he wants to do that, if he dies on the floor, then Philly will celebrate him. They'll say, oh my God, Embiid gave it his all. He's diving on the floor. He's jumping out of bounds for blocks. He's doing all of this stuff, and he got hurt. It is what it is. We love that hard-nosed nature of him, and that's why he's our guy. Right now, he's playing soft basketball, and it's leading into soft basketball for the 76ers, and that's what Maxey is challenging.
I think that's well said. Bro, you just gave me PTSD with the moms. There is no sick day. My mom, bro, when I was sick, right? And I would stay at home, they made sure it was not Club Med. My mom would be like, listen, you're not watching TV. You ain't watching movies. You're going to sleep all day. And when you're awake, you're on medicines, chicken noodle soup, and you're reading books. I said, what? I'm going to school. I went to school sick as hell out there. I didn't give a damn.
What? The one time that I actually got sick where I couldn't do anything was in the summer, and I got the flu, and I was hot. I'm like, when I got days off, I'm actually sick. This is crazy. Dare you? Right. How dare you, bro?
Yo, moms did not play, man. But look at us. Look how we turned out. Fantastic.
Facts.
That's how.
Facts.
The Red Sox offseason is heating up, and the rumors are starting to swirl. We know you have a lot of questions about the Sox future. So we asked the players, coaches, executives, and alumni those same questions on Nesson's Baseball Podcast, 310 to Left. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, Tay, whenever you show up, there's always a game. What do we got today, my friend?
Yeah, so you see it on the screen, Travis. We got winning 7. This is where you guess the NBA player with 7 questions. If you don't get it on the 7th question, then you get the silhouette and you get one final guess, Travis. Let's get it rolling.
All right. Usually.
And I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
This time the silhouette's going to be tough. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Blame the player for looking normal.
Well, hopefully I don't have to get there.
Yep.
The first thing I'll say is I usually start this segment off by saying how much I hate it. But I'll be honest. I feel like I've hit the last 3 or 4 of these. Mm-hmm. I'm not keeping track, but I feel like I'm on a good streak here.
You are?
So at least for this segment, I'm not allowed to say I hate it. Unless I get it wrong, then I hate it, and it stinks.
Fair enough.
All right, question 1.
Yes,
is this
sir.
I always kind of lead off with this. Is this a current or former player?
Yeah, this is a current player.
Okay, current player. Is this current player, forget past teams.
Yes.
Current player, current team.
Yes.
Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
This is a Western Conference player.
Oh, this is a Western Conference.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me mark that down. Current Western player.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is this player – this is always tough because this is the positionless league. Mm-hmm. But is this current Western Conference player in the backcourt, a wing, or a big?
This would be a backcourt player.
Okay. So we got a backcourt. So we got a 1 or a 2 guard in the West.
Mm-hmm.
How many questions is that?
That's 3. That was number 3.
Okay, so I got 4 more, right?
Yep.
Okay, currently in the Western Conference, is this team above 500?
This team currently let me check.
Currently.
This team is currently above 500 as of this recording.
Okay,
yes.
so listen. Just so everyone's clear here, in the West there are good teams.
Yes.
in the East, it's 2 teams.
Right.
And then out West everybody's pretty good. That's why I asked that.
Yep. That would have been a good guess if question if they weren't. You know what I mean? If they weren't, that would have really narrowed it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great question.
Okay, so
that was question number 4.
This is a Western Conference team above 500.
Yep.
Okay, now I automatically start thinking of who's coming up that the Celtics play in the West that's good. Or sometimes you'll throw me a curveball and you'll go backwards, like they just played somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, current team above 500 in the West, backcourt. Mm-hmm. Is this current player, are they an all-star? And it doesn't have to mean like they make it every year, but are they an all-star caliber player? Have they made an all-star team?
They have made an all-star team before.
So they're an
That's
all-star.
question number 5.
Okay, I have 2 more.
Yes. Yep, 2 more.
Okay, all-star, backcourt, Western Conference, above 500 teams. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. All right, and I have 2 more questions.
Yep.
Is this backcourt player considered tall for the position, small for the position, or average?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say.
What would you say?
I'd say smaller average.
Smallish.
Small to average. Small to average.
Small to average.
Yeah.
Okay. How many questions do I have left?
That was question number 6, so you have 1 more.
Damn it, man. I got 1 more?
Yeah, I'll tell you the exact height. That player is 6'3".
The player's 6'3"?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how. Okay, I got a guy in mind. I don't know how tall he is, though. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the guy I'm thinking small-ish. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you would have gave that away. Okay, how many more do I have? You said
1 more, and then the silhouette.
Which doesn't help me, which is kind of a hint, too.
Yeah.
Boy, how tall is Steph? That's where I want to go. Is this player... Okay, so he's an all-star, small to average. Okay, I'm thinking, Steph, is this player considered an all-timer? Like, is this just an all-star now?
No.
But this player is not an all-timer?
This is not an all-timer. That was question number 7.
All right, that takes Steph out.
Can he get the silhouette, please?
Yeah, I'll tell you the other guy. I'll talk this out. This is a silhouette?
Yeah, that is the silhouette.
That's it?
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all.
This kills me.
It does.
All right, so I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Originally, I was thinking John Morant. And then I started feeling like maybe Steph. It's not Steph because he's not an all-timer. Mm-hmm. It's not Ja because his silhouette would look different.
Yes.
Boy, above 500. I mean, we were talking about James Harden, but I feel like that silhouette would give me a little more James Harden. And James Harden's an all-timer, technically. Mm-hmm. All right, I've been high on a guy out west. And I think I even texted you over the weekend that this guy was cooking. Mm-hmm. And he actually has been hot lately. He is 6'3". Mm-hmm. He's regular looking silhouette-wise. I'm going to go De'Aaron Fox.
Can we show him? Let's go, Travis!
Well, I love him.
De'Aaron Fox is correct, man.
Okay, so listen, he's been cooking. I hope you got the numbers there. Yep. Because when I texted you this weekend, he was in the midst of he was like making history at the time.
Yeah.
So I want to say this. This is how I guess this. I love this guy. Yep. And I've loved him since he's come into the league. And I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the genesis why I love him. Mm-hmm. So I covered the Wizards forever. I covered John Wall and his whole saga of his career. Mm-hmm. And when this kid came out, I remember John Wall himself saying, De'Aaron Fox is the only guy who maybe is faster than I am end to end with a ball in his hand. Yep. And I remember thinking, wow, that's high praise. And then he got in the league, and he was showing improving just like John Wall was. The difference is this kid's still balling. Mm-hmm. I think he just loves ball. He has improved his game, but I've been waiting for him to peak. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really walked into that prime yet. Yep. I think this is the season. Do you have the numbers of what he's been doing lately?
Yeah, so he obviously got Western Conference Player of the Week last week in the NBA.
He's crushing.
The game that you're really talking about, he scored 109 points in 2 games.
In 2 games, that's it.
And he had 60 points in that first game against Minnesota.
Yes.
And then 49 against Utah.
Bro, what more do you need? I told you, if he takes that next step, which it appears as though he is, here come the Kings. Yeah. Here come the Kings. Like, if they're top 4 in the West, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't be shocked either. 49 and 9 assists, by the way, too, and 60 and 7 assists. So he was really cooking. He ended up playing against Atlanta. Dyson Daniels is Dyson Daniels, so he had him. I wouldn't say an off night because he still gave him 28. Sure. He gave him 28, but he slowed him down just a little bit. So yeah, shout out to De'Aaron Fox. It was actually funny because as you were thinking, what player it was on the side was the tweet that shouted out him and Franz Wagner for being Player of the Week.
Oh, okay. So, I don't read.
I know you were. I know you were paying attention, but I was just like, it's actually kind of funny. But
that's why my mom made me read on sick days. She knew. She knew the cheat code. By the way. That I mentioned how much I love Win in 7. Yeah. Because I do.
You should.
Want to hear all about Boston sports? Well, do ya? Then check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You can enter the conversation by calling the Nesson Vodcast hotline at 617-790-0928. Or you could always email us, thechat@nesson.com. Boston has entered the chat. Available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, I saw that Cam Thomas and the Nets did not agree to an extension, so now allegedly he's available for trade. How do you see this playing out, Ountae? Where are some teams we got to keep our eye out for Cam Thomas to go? I know you like his game.
Yeah, man. Cam Thomas, he's being considered for a trade. I don't know, man. I think this was really difficult for me because he's such a polarizing player, honestly.
He is.
He's very, very, very good defensively. Offensively, excuse me. Yeah. But defensively, man, he is a cone, what I like to call a cone. Man, he is like, you're working out, you're getting your mixtape, you're getting your shots up, you're getting whatever you want. But, man, is he a package on offense? Now, he's been doing a lot better defensively this year, so I have to give him credit. There's 2 teams that I have in mind. Do you want me to give you one first, or you want me to give you both?
No, give me both because I have 2 in mind as well.
All right, so the teams that I'm looking at, I was trying to think cap space. I was trying to think of, hey, which teams are really good defensively but not as great offensively.
Sure.
Maybe need to get a little bit younger because there are some young teams that are really good defensively that need a little more offensive firepower, but you don't need any more young players to add to a young team. So I'm going to go with two older teams. Okay. The first one is the Miami Heat. I was looking at the Miami Heat. I was looking at their cap situation. It's not terrible going into next season, but what is terrible is the fact that they don't have any guys who could just go get a bucket besides Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is the guy who you get a ball to and he yang, like you like to say, Travis, yang,
yes, sir.
And get to a bucket. Yep. But other than that, they don't really have one. I'm done with the Duncan Robinson experiment.
Me too.
I think it's over. I think that's done.
Me too.
I think Jimmy, if you guys are showing us that you're going to continue to roll with Jimmy, you're going to continue to roll with Bam, you're going to continue to roll with Tyler Hero, you need a guy who's going to come in and just have instant offense. And whenever they swing, because that's what they do have is good ball movement. When they swing, and now there's a fourth guy who can go make a play.
You're not done with Tyler Hero?
Huh? No.
What?
No, I'm not done with Tyler. I mean, if they want to move on from Tyler Hero, that's fine.
He would be in the trade.
I just don't think that would. I don't like that. I like it better with Tyler Hero there. That's what I'm saying personally.
All right.
Now, the other team that I was looking at, we talked about James Harden. I need to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers. They need to get younger, and it's been talked about over and over and over again. This Kawhi thing is done. I think he's done. As far as I think he'll play more NBA games, but as far as us getting a Kawhi that plays 50 or 60 games in a year and being a real threat in the playoffs, I think those days are over with.
Me too.
So I think adding a guy like this, James Harden, like you said, is probably a guy that's at the end of his, sunsetting his time as a star in this league and stuff like that. Yeah. They don't have any young guys to build around or anything like that. I mean, you have Terrence Mann, but I mean, he's not a cornerstone type of piece or an offensive package. I think they need young guys who can score the ball. Defensively, they've been really, really impressive this year. They got that win against the Warriors the other night because of their impressive defense. Offensively, they need a little bit of help. So I'm going to say the Clippers and the Miami Heat for both of those reasons.
Okay, look, I have two different teams, but it's really the same path that you went down. I went older teams. Well, I guess in one case, not necessarily older. One of them's definitely older. I'm going to go to the Warriors and the Lakers.
Okay.
Now, the Warriors are not as old as the Lakers. When I think of the Warriors, I like the way they've built on the fly around Steph and Draymond with young guys. So I'm thinking maybe you have to give up one of those young guys and some draft picks to get a Cam Thomas. But I think he works with what they're doing. I think it's another star opposite Steph Curry that can score and get a bucket, and he kind of fits their culture and their system.
Yeah.
But I told you my hot take is that Giannis ends up with the Warriors. So this Cam Thomas move is almost like the backup plan to the backup plan. If we can't land Giannis, if the Bucks don't want to move off of him or the NBA blocks it or something, then we can get a Cam Thomas. The other one is the Lakers. This is an older team that needs more scoring.
Yeah.
You are depending on LeBron and AD every night to do everything. More so AD right now, and then LeBron's kind of handling the rock and making the decisions. I think you need another scorer there. Now, I don't know what the hell they can give up. I feel the same way with the Heat. I don't think the Heat can go out and get this kid. I don't know if they have the assets. I feel the same way about the Lakers, although I love the fit. I just think, I don't know, do you mortgage the future in terms of draft picks? Maybe you give up one of the young guys you do have if you're the Lakers. I have no idea, and I don't know cap space like you do. But I look at those two teams just in terms of fit, and I think Cam Thomas works for both.
Yeah, I'm nervous about the cap because I think both of those teams are really high at the top of it. And, I have the Heat who are also a little bit below those guys in front of cap, which is why it made it more difficult for me to find a trade partner for him. And I think the Nets are honestly going to have those same difficulties when they go through this process.
I could see it.
Because he's going to want to go – him and his camp are going to want to go to a team that has money to pay him in the future. That's why that's why we're getting to the point where there's a trade, because they couldn't come to an agreement on an extension. This dude wants to get paid because he's averaging 20 plus a game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he wants to get paid in that sense, and I don't think the Lakers or the Warriors have the cap space in the future to do so. They were both teams that were right against the cap. I think the Lakers are like $1 under because of LeBron James's contract of the second apron. So, I don't think they're really going to be able to figure that out. I'm okay with that. I think the Miami Heat, I think the Clippers are probably the best option, honestly, of the 4 teams that we've named for him to go, because once again, they're desperate to be relevant. They're desperate to sell seats. They're desperate to score the ball and have some excitement. And man, I can tell you, when that dude has the ball in his hands, there's electricity in the gym. There's electricity on the court. Everybody knows he's going to shoot it. And he's like Peyton Pritchard, man. He gets the ball at the end of shot clocks and at the end of quarters and stuff like that. And he makes special things happen. So he's a must-see TV for anybody who wants to watch high offense and not a lot of defense. Yeah. But man, I'm nervous to see what's going to happen with this situation, because I think this is a good player that's going to kind of get washed out just based off situation. I'm nervous that he's going to end up on a team like the Pistons or like the Rockets that are young and just add more young backcourt talent, and he has to come off the bench, or even the Magic, who do need a little bit more scoring, but they have KCP, so they're not going to start him. They're going to bring him off the bench. So it's just those are the teams that I was looking at, but I don't know where he ends up, man.
All right, outside of dominating, winning 7, my second favorite segment on the show is our one NBA League Pass game to watch. I'm going to go Knicks and Suns tonight.
Yeah.
Look, the Suns, I told you coming into the season they were fugazi. Looky.
Travis.
Kevin Durant banged up. Travis. Oh, what do you know? Bradley Beal, per usual, banged up. They've lost 5 straight. Jalen Brunson is going into Phoenix and snatching the heart right out of your chest, Suns. You're going to keep losing games, you morons. I can't stand that team. They're not making the playoffs, as I told you. And here come the Knicks.
Travis, that's not even a League Pass game.
What
that
do you
game
mean?
is on the ESPN. That's a national TV game.
Hey, not everyone has ESPN. What if you don't have ESPN and you got to get the League Pass?
You can't watch it on League Pass. That's the whole point.
It's blacked out.
It's a blacked out game because it's a national game. You got to watch it on the ESPN.
Stay off of my television. Mind your own
business. If they
business.
don't got ESPN, then they're going to watch it on Streamies, and that's why the NBA's ratings are down again.
You don't know what kind of cable package I have.
Oh, my God. All right, I'm going to actually give you guys a League Pass game. Now, look, I got to apologize because the last time we did a League Pass game, I got Dallas and Denver confused. So I was telling you about Denver and why they were playing OKC. Well, actually, they were playing Dallas, and I watched that game anyways, and it was a great one. Dallas versus OKC.
You got that right. You just picked the wrong winner.
I just said the wrong. I said the wrong team. You know, I was talking about Jokic.
I think we knew you meant.
Yeah, but you know, my fault about that. What I do want to tell you about is I'm not messing up this time. Hawks at Warriors. Okay, right. I need to be specific about this. Now, Trae Young is back, and I can tell you, after watching Dyson Daniels with my own 2 eyes, I am a fan of that boy out there in Atlanta. He be locking everybody. I gave him a new nickname. He's Deflection King. That's what he is in my eyes. Deflection King. He ended up winning against the Kings, actually, off a deflection that he made against De'Aaron Fox. Yeah. So I'm calling him Deflection King. And then obviously the Warriors, who were the number 1 seed in the West a couple of days ago. Now they're the number 2 seed as we record this episode, behind the OKC Thunder. You have to watch these 2 teams match up because, man, the Hawks have been on a heater, and Steph and the Warriors have been on one as well. Steph and Trae Young got a lot of comparisons when Trae Young was in college to Steph or whatever, and now these 2 are matching up against each other. Trae Young just had a game where he had 19 assists. Woo! 19 assists. He only had 7 or 8, 9 points or something like that, but he only took 7 shots. He was really trying to facilitate. Man, this is going to be a really big matchup of 2 teams who have 2 stars who are really trying to will their team to wins, and especially after Steph coming off that loss where Gary Payton stole a shot from Lindy Waters. This is going to be a game where Steph tries to make sure his team gets back on the winning stride at home.
All right, well, there you go. Go watch games with Ountae because my cable package is janky as hell. Thank you, Ountae Campbell, for your contributions to this fine program. And I'll end it with here where we started, where I was joking with Ountae about the NBA all-star format that they're going to try to do, where they have 3 teams consisting of 8 players. Then you have the Rising Stars Challenge winner as your 4th team. They all play in a tournament style for the all-star break or the all-star game, and then the winner gets whatever they get. So I thought about this. And I agree with what Ountae said at the top of the show. I think it's a good idea. In fact, the NHL, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, they've changed rules over the years. There's very little fighting if you watch hockey these days. It's all speed and skill for the scoring in the league to go up. They've got just that. How about MLB? Pitch clock. I'm looking at a list of a ton of other rule changes that they did to speed up the games. I'm also looking at the ratings. They haven't been this high in many moons in baseball. So it worked. They tweaked the game. It worked. The NFL, I mean, my God, they change rules constantly. They change rules when the wind blows. They'll change formats. They'll do anything. Whatever they think will get more ratings and keep football the king of this country, they'll do it. And let me give the NBA some credit here, too. Over the years, in totality, they have a history of making changes to improve their product. I think this is no different because the All-Star game is a mess. You got to get these guys to play. I like the tournament idea. Here's another thing I throw in, just like they did with the NBA Cup, a bag of cash, okay? Cash money, baby. Cash is king. Put a big purse on the winner of this All-Star game and watch these dudes ball out. Just like we do here on Hold My Banner. For Travis Thomas and Ountae Campbell, we thank you for rolling with us always. That's it for us here on Hold My Banner. Till next time when we ask you to hold it again. Peace.